PCOS is the most common hormonal disorder in women, affecting over 10% of women worldwide. And the number of women affected increases every year. But it's not all doom and gloom. I do have some good news. Because 90% of PCOS cases are caused by insulin resistance, this means it can be reversed if you address the root cause. So if you have any of these 12 early signs of PCOS, don't panic. There is something you can do about it. A lot of PCOS cases fly under the radar. A lot of women don't realize this is something they struggle with until they're trying to get pregnant, at which point they struggle with infertility, and that's when they get the PCOS diagnosis. But there are signs you can watch out for to get ahead of it, because the earlier you catch PCOS, the easier it's going to be to reverse. And when it does get to a time where you do want to get pregnant, it's going to be a whole lot easier. And even if kids aren't in your future, PCOS can affect your health long term. PCOS is the most common hormonal disorder in women, but a lot of times it goes undiagnosed because we write off the symptoms of PCOS as normal, but these aren't normal. A lot of women struggle with these symptoms day to day and don't realize that PCOS is the cause. And because I know I'm going to get this in the comment section, yes, it can be fully reversed. It's not something you have to live with. It is a condition that's caused by diet and lifestyle. So yes, if you make changes and you reverse it, but then you revert back to the lifestyle you were living that caused you to develop PCOS in the first place, it will come back. And yes, some women are more genetically predisposed to PCOS, but this goes with almost all health conditions. And just because you're genetically predisposed to something doesn't mean you're automatically going to develop it. One of my favorite sayings that I think illustrates this nicely is genetics loads the gun, but diet and lifestyle pull the trigger. But with all that said, today we're going to be talking about 12 early symptoms of PCOS that you can watch out for. If you have any of these, they can be a strong indicator that you have PCOS, and this is your sign to do something about it. So let's start off with some of the hormonal signs you might notice. Starting off with number one and one of the hallmark symptoms of PCOS, irregular or missed periods. So what is considered to be a typical cycle lasts between 21 to 35 days, and your period can be anywhere from 2 to 7 days. If your cycles are shorter, longer, or you're missing periods altogether, this can be a strong indicator of PCOS. But even if your cycle is regular, but you're taking hormonal birth control, that doesn't put you in the clear. Hormonal birth controls mask this symptom. When you're using something like the hormonal birth control pill, this stops ovulation, meaning that your period is actually a withdrawal bleed. So you're not actually going through a typical cycle. You're not going through a cycle at all. So even if you don't have this symptom, but you have some of the others we're going to talk about today, this could mean PCOS. Sign number two is excess body hair. If you have excessive hair growth on your face, your thighs, your lower belly, or your back, this is a sign that you have high male hormones. And over 60% of women with PCOS experience this symptom. Number three is thinning hair or hair loss. And this might sound counterintuitive to the last sign because I just said excess hair and now I'm talking about hair loss. But here I'm referring to the hair on your head. PCOS can cause hair thinning or male pattern baldness. This can look like thinning around the crown or the hairline, or increased hair shedding. And this happens because high male hormones shrink hair follicles, leading to hair loss over time. Number four, skin tags. And these are different to moles. Skin tags are small, soft growths of skin that often appear around the neck, armpits, groin, or under the breasts. And these are directly caused by insulin resistance. When you're insulin resistant, your insulin levels are chronically high, and high insulin levels trigger growth. And this includes the growth of your skin. So if you've started to develop skin tags, or maybe you have one or two that have been hanging around for a while, this can be a strong indicator of PCOS. And I also want to note that as you reverse PCOS, as you lower your insulin levels and reverse insulin resistance, these skin tags can shrink and go away entirely. I see this all the time with clients. A lot of people are told that skin tags are just a cosmetic issue, that they're caused by friction, but that's not true. And every time I talk about skin tags in a video, I get so many comments from people. Sometimes people will be like, I just checked and one of the skin tags I had in my armpit is completely gone. So let me know if that's you in the comments down below, because I know it sounds too good to be true, especially if you struggled with skin tags for a while. But bring your insulin levels down and they'll start to go away. Number five, dark velvety patches of skin. These patches of skin usually occur around the neck, the armpits, and the groin. And these are another major sign that your insulin levels are high. because high insulin stimulates excess pigment production in the skin. Now, before we go any further, I'm going to take a quick moment to tell you about today's sponsor, Sowell Health, and how their hormone and PCOS supplement can kickstart your journey to reversing PCOS. Now, I will say the diet and lifestyle changes are absolutely key here. If you're not sure where to start, I posted a video last week or the week before on steps you can take to reverse PCOS, and this is the exact framework that I use with clients. It's backed by science and it works, so I'll link that video up above. But there are certain supplements that can help because balancing your hormones is the key to reversing PCOS. Obviously, the main one here is insulin, and Synced from Sowell Health can help. Synced contains Inositol, a nutrient shown to improve insulin sensitivity and hormone balance. It supports ovulation and can help regulate your cycles. And it combines inositol with other key nutrients that target PCOS symptoms. To check it out, you can head to healthcoachkait.com/get-so-synced. I'll put that link in the description box down below. And if you want to try it out, make sure to use code KAIT10 at checkout because that's going to save you 10% off your order. And now let's get into some of the metabolic signs. The first one is sugar cravings after eating. If you experience intense cravings right after a meal, and especially for sugar, this can be a sign of PCOS-related insulin resistance. But what's happening here? Well, it all starts with your body not being able to use glucose efficiently. Your cells are still hungry for energy, even though you've just eaten. And the brain sends signals that make you crave more sugar. Because when you're insulin resistant, your cells aren't taking in glucose as they should. So the energy from your meal is there, but your cells aren't able to use it. And this is a vicious cycle that makes blood sugar swings and cravings worse over time. Number 7 is belly fat, and specifically visceral fat. So women with PCOS often carry excess weight around their midsection, even if they're not overweight. And I'm not talking about squishy fat, which is known as subcutaneous fat, but rather hard visceral fat. So if you think of something like a beer belly and how that fat is hard to the touch, that's an extreme example of a lot of visceral fat. But you can have visceral fat internally, and you won't be able to see it or feel it. The only way to see it is by getting something like a DEXA scan. And this type of fat is directly associated with insulin resistance because insulin resistance increases fat storage, and specifically around the belly. Studies show that visceral fat is strongly linked to metabolic dysfunction in women with PCOS. So, like I said, you can have subcutaneous or that soft, squishy type of fat on top of visceral fat. And if you find it really hard to lose weight in general, and specifically around your midsection, this is another sign of PCOS. And this leads us into sign number 8, which is difficulty losing weight. Up to 80% of women with PCOS are overweight or obese. Now, I will say this isn't 100% of people. Not everyone with PCOS is going to be overweight, but the majority are. And I'm sure if you fall into this category, you know just how difficult losing weight with PCOS can be. And this is because when you have PCOS, your insulin levels are high. And this makes weight loss hard because insulin is the fat storage hormone. When insulin is high, your body is storing fat because it thinks you have energy available. And when insulin is low, this is when your body taps into your stored body fat, and that's when you're going to lose weight. So when you have PCOS, you have chronic high insulin, and this is why it makes sense that weight loss is hard. Number 9 is fatigue and low energy. If you're someone who constantly feels tired, if you feel like you always need to have a mid-afternoon nap despite getting enough sleep, it could be due to PCOS. And again, this comes down to your cells not being able to get the energy they need. Signs that you have PCOS-related fatigue include needing caffeine or sugar to stay energized, brain fog throughout the day, and midday energy crashes. And now let's get into some of the long-term signs of PCOS. With number 10, sleep problems. Women with PCOS have a higher risk of sleep disturbances, like insomnia or sleep apnea. This is because high male hormones in women disrupt sleep cycles. And insulin resistance also impacts melatonin production. So if you have trouble falling or staying asleep, if you are someone who snores, or if you simply feel exhausted despite getting a full night's sleep, it could be PCOS. Number 11 is mood swings, anxiety, and even depression. PCOS doesn't just affect your body, it can also affect your mood. This is because hormonal imbalances affect serotonin and dopamine levels. And blood sugar fluctuations, like we see with women who have PCOS and insulin resistance, contribute to mood instability. So once again, if you address the root cause, insulin resistance, This can help to stabilize your mood and anxiety. And finally, number 12 is infertility and trouble conceiving. Now, a lot of women don't realize they have PCOS until they're trying to conceive. Like I said at the start of this video, a lot of PCOS cases fly under the radar. And that's because we write off a lot of the signs of PCOS as normal. Many women don't realize that they have PCOS until they try to get pregnant. And then they realize that they're struggling with infertility. This is because high insulin levels disrupt ovulation. And if you're not ovulating, you're not going to get pregnant. Or at the very least, it's going to be more difficult to track your cycle, making pregnancy harder in that sense. Now, like I said at the start of this video, PCOS is not a life sentence. If you address insulin resistance, if you bring your insulin levels down, not only are you going to reduce your PCOS symptoms, but your cycle is going to become more regular. You can reverse PCOS entirely, and your health is going to improve across the board. And if you want to get started with that, I'm going to put a link in the comment section down below on a video to get you started. But anyways, guys, I want to hear from you. How many of these symptoms have you experienced? Did you know they were related to PCOS? I want to hear from you guys in the comment section. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you do have any other questions about PCOS or insulin resistance or anything like that, leave them down below. I try to get to as many questions as I can, especially right after I post a video. But thank you again, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!